Good evening. I'm Tips Mahoy, and this is ArthIntel Evening Edition. Coming up, Russian ballistic missiles strike on Kyiv, kills 14 and injures 22, officials say. Netanyahu says no Israeli withdrawal from Gaza until Hamas has been completely disarmed. Indian vessel sinks after being struck by projectile near Yemeni waters. That, plus a check of the weather across the country. Russia launched a barrage of ballistic missiles and drones on Kyiv overnight, killing 14 people and injuring at least 22 in one of the deadliest strikes on the capital this year. Kyiv's military administration said 9 people died in the Borispol district, 4 in Bucha, and 1 in Fastiv, with residential buildings and warehouses damaged. Kyiv Mayor Vitaly Klitschko said people may be trapped under rubble in the city center, and 4 of the injured are in serious condition. Russia's defense ministry said it struck logistics hubs and drone production sites, but Kyiv's military administration accused the enemy of deliberately striking civilians and civilian infrastructure. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says his forces will not withdraw from their current lines in Gaza until Hamas has completely disarmed, pushing back on a deal announced by President Trump. Netanyahu said the Trump administration sent Israel a draft agreement, but declared, "We did not agree. It is not our draft." The rejected plan called for Hamas to begin disarming, while Israel halted strikes and withdrew from the roughly 60% of Gaza it currently controls, building on an October ceasefire that ended major fighting and freed the remaining hostages. Netanyahu, who faces a tough re-election battle in October, said Israeli forces would continue to do whatever is necessary to protect the country. An Indian commercial vessel, the MSV Faiz Noor Aliyah, has sunk in the Red Sea after being struck by an unknown projectile near Yemeni waters on Tuesday. India's Minister of Ports, Shipping and Waterways, Sarbananda Sonowal, confirmed all 14 crew members, 13 of them Indian nationals, were rescued by Yemen's Coast Guard and brought to the port of Makkah. Sonowal condemned what he called an unprovoked attack on the defenseless mechanized sailing vessel, while India's Ministry of External Affairs called recent attacks on shipping in the region deeply worrisome. According to Yemen's Saudi-backed transportation ministry, the Houthi rebel group carried out the attack using an explosive-laden boat, though the Houthis have not issued a public comment. ArthIntel Headline News is brought to you in part by Toolbox Development, AI web development and marketing. Learn more at toolboxdevelopment.net. We'll be right back. Establishment Democrats notched a key win in their party's civil war Tuesday night, as Rep. Wesley Bell defeated former Squad member Cori Bush for the second time since 2024 in Missouri's 1st congressional district primary. Bush, a Democratic Socialists of America member, again accused Bell of being controlled by AIPAC, pointing to a trip he took to Israel funded by Trump donors just months after a 2025 tornado devastated part of St. Louis. Those attacks weren't enough to stop Bell, who is now the heavy favorite to win a second term in the Deep Blue District come November. Kansas Senate President Ty Masterson has won the Republican nomination for governor, defeating 6 other candidates in Tuesday's primary. Masterson was endorsed by President Trump, who held a tele-rally for him in the final days of the race and credited him with cutting property taxes and leading a ban on men in women's sports in Kansas. Montana Governor Greg Gianforte, who leads the Republican Governors Association, called Masterson a results-oriented conservative, ready to take on Democrat Governor Laura Kelly's record. Kelly is term-limited, and Masterson is now positioned to become the first Republican governor in Kansas since 2014. Rep. Wesley Bell has once again defeated former Squad member Cori Bush in Missouri's Democratic primary, this time winning nearly 69% of the vote to her 27%. According to Politico, Bell's campaign received heavy financial support from AIPAC, which spent more than $2 million on his behalf, as the two clashed sharply over Israel throughout the race. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries and the Congressional Black Caucus PAC also endorsed Bell. He's expected to win easily in November in the strongly Democratic St. Louis area district. Kansas voters have overwhelmingly rejected a constitutional amendment that would have scrapped the state's 68-year-old merit-based system for selecting Supreme Court justices in favor of direct elections. About 62% voted no, with nearly 594,000 votes counted as of 11:15 p.m. Tuesday. The measure, backed by Republican legislators and Attorney General Kobach's PAC, was opposed by groups including the ACLU of Kansas and Planned Parenthood, who warned it would let out-of-state billionaires buy influence over the court. Retired Justice Carol Beyer called the outcome beyond gratifying, while opponents say at least $12.8 million, much of it dark money, was spent on the campaigns. ArthIntel Headline News is brought to you in part by Toolbox Development, AI web development and marketing. Learn more at toolboxdevelopment.net. We'll be right back. Aaron Rodgers is entering what he calls the definitive end of his NFL career, telling CBS Sports' Bryant McFadden, "This is 100% the end." The 42-year-old quarterback says reuniting with head coach Mike McCarthy in Pittsburgh was the deciding factor in his return for one more season. Teammates are praising his ability and leadership. Running back Rico Dowdle called him the best quarterback I've stepped on a field with, while defensive back Brandon Eccles pointed to his football IQ and daily intensity. Rodgers is aiming to join Tom Brady, Peyton Manning, and John Elway as the only starting quarterbacks over 38 to win a Super Bowl. Bobby Witt Jr. made his return tonight after missing time since July 20 with low back tightness, and he didn't miss a beat. Witt delivered a 2 RBI double during a 3-run fifth inning as the Royals snapped a 4-game losing streak. Jack Caglianon and Kyle Isbell each chipped in 2 hits and an RBI, while Starling Marte added a 2-run double in the 8th. Kansas City now sits at 7-4 on the season against the postseason contending Twins. ArthIntel Headline News is brought to you in part by Toolbox Development, AI web development and marketing. Learn more at toolboxdevelopment.net. We'll be right back. And finally, here's a look at temperatures across the country right now. It's hottest in Phoenix at 96 degrees, while Minot, ND, is the coolest spot on the board this evening at 55. That's ArthIntel Evening Edition for now 9 stories coast to coast. I'm Tips Mahoy for ArthIntel, signal over noise. Want more signal and less noise? Subscribe, enable notifications, and jump over to arthintel.com for top headlines.